Teach me thy path, lead me in the truth, and teach me. For thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Amen.
Oh! Hey, yo, the sun never shines here. Man, it's dark all the time here. No law, justice is blind here. It's just...
I say, wow, what's happening? What's happening? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of ManPower. And today's show is fathers are the answer to our issues. Now, I just want to get right into it. I was talking with a partner of mine, and he happened to say something to me to really give me the motivation I needed to get today's show done. He said he'd like to date a woman first and get to know the woman, right? Now, I immediately had a problem with that. I'm going to tell you right now, all right? I'm sorry. I'm Dr. Sausage. I'm your host. Let's get right to it. The reason I got a problem with a grown-ass man going out saying I'm going on a date, that's some shit I did when I was a teenager and I lived in my mom and daddy house. Okay? When I was a boy, yeah, I used to go out on dates with girls. I did. Because that's what teenagers, young adults, do. Because you're still living in your parents' house. But life has an order. All right? So when I left my mother and father's home, I went to the military. Guess what? I had my own place to stay. In having my own place to stay, I started in the barracks, so I would invite a chick back to my room. You understand? We would go and get something at the store and we would cook, right? And like she'll make the biscuits, I'll be making the red beans and rice, frying the chicken, showing her I can get down in the kitchen. She's showing me what she can do. She might make the desserts and stuff like that. You feel me? That's how I understand it. When I got to be a man, I started doing this female thing like men do. She invite me back to her place. I invite her back to mine. Since I have been an adult male, since I have been 17 years old, I have had my own address, okay, where I'm responsible for the bills at. Okay? I don't play this bullshit game of I got to take you out to this restaurant and take you out to that restaurant and do this and do that just to get you. No. In my life, I want to thank my mother, Rosemary Muse, at this point because I've always tried to get a female that was like her or had the temperament like her. You understand? And as a result of that, I've always fared out pretty good. Now, if you can't go get a female that's like your mama, then that's why you having trouble. That's why you having issues. You need to look at that. If you don't want a female, if you don't want nothing like your mama as the type of female you pick, all right. If you say you want a quiet woman, you want a reserved woman, you want a woman that want to stay home and raise the children, and this is opposite of your mama, huh? Okay, so this dating thing, that's for simps. I'm keeping it real with you because the way I understand it, okay, like the lady I met, the lady of my dreams, you understand me? I met her in college here when I was after I had gotten my divorce, all right? And after our initial conversation, I invited her to come to my place. And she was like, well, no, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to come to your place, okay? I got to get to trust you a little bit better, right? So we would just like talk in her car, talk at school. Eventually she did come to my home and we stood outside. She stayed, she sat on her car. I sat outside in the chair. We laughed, we talked, we had a good time. Then we made it on into where she came on in. When she came in, we had already been talking about cooking. We had already been talking about what we like to eat. We had already been talking about to see if we had things in common and what we like. So now it's time to put these things in practice. Okay? When I'm with a female, I'm trying to go one-on-one with her. I don't need to get her around a crowd of people. That's just not my forte. I need her to be able to get comfortable. Sex might pop off at any time. You see what I'm saying? I ain't got time for that. And I don't need that. I got to be in the street. When you run into a woman or a female or a male where your company alone isn't good enough, that they need other companionship, all right? That's a person that's not complete, not whole with they self, all right? Listen, I'm just keeping it real. That's all I know how to do. Now, let's move on into another issue. Do you think that fathers would allow their daughters to twerk? I mean, let's just be real. You think fathers would allow their daughters to twerk? A girl that's raised up in the house with her father, she's going to learn how to do real dances that got footwork, handwork, shoulders, and all this. It ain't going to be none of that gyrating and all this other air fornicating and stuff going on. No, and she's not going to hurt her father that way because she has respect and love for him. So she's going to carry herself in a respectable manner. She knows what type of male he wants to come around him. She knows what type of male to get because she looking at her daddy like I looked at my mama. That's principle. If you can't look at your parent and say, yeah, I want a person that's like that, that's telling you a whole lot. That's telling you a whole lot. Okay? I don't drink alcohol. I might take a sip here and there because that's something my parents wrestled with. So to make sure that I broke that generational curse, I don't touch it. It wasn't in my home, and I warned my children against it. You understand? So, what father you think would allow his daughter to be doing mischievous, low-down stuff? No, we were so pride in our daughters. We were so disciplined in our daughters. Our daughters wouldn't pull their panties off unless they was getting married. You better believe that, Jack. Okay? In our culture, immorality is starting to become the majority. And the reason immorality is starting to become the majority because the government plan of propping up the female as the head of household has failed so miserably that now it's displaying itself blatantly in society. Mental illnesses is just through the roof. I mean, we just ignore mental illness to the point to where California got a whole city full of mentally ill homeless people. We are so cruel. Everywhere you look in all of the major cities, the mentally ill people are living homeless. And the medical community understands it, but they understand that there is no money to be made in the situation, so they're not into it. They're not into it. When I was growing up, if a young man said he was a girl, they recognized he was having mental problems and tried to get him the help that he needed. When I was growing up, if a girl said that she was male, they would get her the help that she needed. Delusion is a real thing. I mean, you listening to me, you looking at me. If I'm sitting here and I'm telling you I'm a 26-year-old woman, you would really have trouble with that. You would really have to push your understanding and reality to a point of just total incoherence in order to allow that to be true. Or you would have to just be in a complete joke mood. So we have to put fathers back in the head of everything. We have to make this back being a male-dominated society so that we can get morality, so that we under control, okay? So that we can get teenage suicide under control. Teenage suicide would plummet if fathers were allowed to come off the bench and become starters in the parental roles, okay? Teenage drug use, teenage homicide, teenage runaway, everything that you see these young people suffering from because the father is not in charge of their life. The government knows this because they have all type of medical boards that have convened upon this and have told them that this is what's going to happen if you let the men raise the children, and this is what's going to happen if you let the women raise the children. They were told, if you let the men raise the children, you're going to have a great society, well-rounded society, good, strong, moral people. If you let the women raise the society, mental illness is going to run rampant. If you let the women raise the children, that you're going to feminize the males. But did they listen? Yeah, they listened. They listened to destroy us. And so this is the rally call of our time. We have to stand up and say, listen, if we are good enough to turn on the lights, if we are good enough to build cities, if we are good enough to clean the water, if we're good enough to run the sewage, if we're good enough to go to war and fight and die for this country, then we are good enough to be fathers to our sons. And so in order to accomplish this, men, we need to show our value. We need to come together and boycott. We need to not do anything. Say, unless it's life or death, we're not doing it. We're not coming to work. From the politician, okay, to the sewage worker, we're not coming to work. We're not picking up the trash. The only surgeries that's happening is life-saving surgeries. That's it. We're not flying any planes. We're not doing anything, because if we're good enough to do all of these things, and you know we're doing these things to provide for our children, then you need to give us our sons and the daughters in some cases. All right? We have to come together. We don't need to resort to violence, because we have sheer number, we have morality, we have truth, and we have the everything that's positive on our side. Okay? The church has abandoned its responsibility, the so-called church, because it's just a building made by the hands of man. Okay? But the church is the people, the individuals. They have abandoned their responsibility. All right? How can you take a person who, one group, they don't accept responsibility for feeding themselves. They don't accept responsibility for housing themselves. They don't accept responsibility for having the ability to pay for their medical coverage. All right. But you're going to say, we're going to allow you to raise the children. How? And you're going to ignore the group that's designed to provide and protect. Then you got another group that they want to do the man's job. So they're out here busting it out 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, just as competitive as a man, making just as much money as a man. Okay. So now these people are not interested in being full-time mothers. They're not interested in being domestic engineers. They're not interested in being housewives. And then we let it get jumbled up. Okay. And then you wonder why our communities and everything are falling apart. We have to get the housewives to distinguish themselves from the career-minded ladies, and then we have to get the career-minded ladies to accept their stuff with honor, and the housewives to accept their stuff with honor, and not make the two compete. That way, our young boys, young men who want a traditional life, want children, they know they can pick a traditional woman. And the ones who don't want children, because all men don't want children. Some men want a woman that's going to work and making just as much as them and bringing as much to them to the table, because they like material things. You know what I'm saying? They want to have an 8-bedroom home, big old swimming pool, 2-3 acres, no kids, just them, throwing wild parties. More power to you. But marriage, family, and all that type of stuff, and our values, they need to be preserved. They need to be protected. And men, that's why we have to come together to save marriage, to save the children, by saying, that's it. That's it. We're not doing anything. Can you imagine what would happen if we decided that as a group, men, as a group in this country, we're boycotting? Until we are given first right of fatherhood, we're not doing anything else. Until we are given custody of our sons, when a man and a woman separate, it's automatic that the boy goes with his father. Until that happens, we're not doing anything else. Boy, no power could stand against us. None. I got a question for the ladies. Before I do that, I want to say something here. Here's another issue, I'm sorry. Men, we are the ones who are responsible for our communities. Not the police. We are the law. How are we the law? We are the law because we are the head of our families, our household. We lay down the law in the house. So when you lay down the law in the house and let your kids know what they will not do unless you will pucker their butt, then what happens is when they go outside, they carry the standard. Okay? So now there's less need for law enforcement. There's less need for the food stamps and the welfare. All of the things that's going out of control. Why? Because men are in charge. Look, I really don't care who this offends what I'm about to say, because this is a show for men. This is for men to talk about our issues, to air them out honestly, all right? And we don't give a fuck on this show how females feel or what females think, okay? So, I'm just going to let you know that men, We are the ones who are supposed to have custody of these children. If we're going to fix our communities, if we're going to turn out the type of society ultimately that we want to grow old in, all right, then we have to stand up and we have to fight. And we ain't fighting ladies. We have to stand up and we have to fight our government for a redress. We want first right of fatherhood. That means when a man and a woman separate, the child automatically goes with the father. The police are not responsible for our communities. The men are. And if we can shape and mold the morality of our families, we would have better communities and better societies. And a stronger country. So let's move on, because I have a question for the ladies that I really want to get to. And it's, ladies, why are there more black men getting married than black women? The answer is because they don't grow up seeing loving marriages, loving and nurturing marriages. They don't. These young ladies are growing up in single parent households, watching the hyena clan, the mother, the grandmother, the aunties, all of them single mothers, all of them taking care of both the male and the female responsibility. So what is she supposed to emulate when she grows up? Right? Exactly. So you see these men who are preparing themselves to meet the world, to face the challenges, to be successful, right? What are they doing? They're marrying white women. They're marrying Chinese women. They're marrying Japanese women. They're marrying any other woman but the black woman. That's how more black men are getting married than black women. What are black women running around promoting? They're promoting single motherhood, right? And black men are still getting married. So the only people that's out here playing this single motherhood game is the deadbeat women and the deadbeat men. That's it. You can't do what you don't know. So if you never saw your mama be a wife and a mother, and all them damn excuses about, oh, he used to beat her, then the next dude used to drag her, then the next dude cheated on her, all that shit got one thing in common: her. If you can't tell her shit, can't no nigga tell her shit. Why would you have sex with her, and unprotected sex at that, and have a child, knowing what this type of person is going to put that child through? You see the mental illness being displayed in what this person is saying. This is why the fathers have to have their sons, so we can get penis control. Okay? Who benefits off this? Who benefits off her being loud and out of control, and can't no man tell her nothing, and the children see that and they copy that and they loud and out of control? Who benefit off that? The correctional facility. Who run the correctional facility? The government. Excuse me. It's getting to the point to where we may have to start making homeschool something that becomes a majority run thing, just to be able to raise wholesome children. There are black men out here that are so delusional that they think that that the woman is God, that man hijacked it and took over it, and that women were the firstborn. All right? This is because in their life, all they've ever seen is the women with the children and everything that the women have to do during their lifetime. And if we made single fatherhood the thing that we propped up on a pedestal, the young people will be talking about the same thing, but with the father. Okay? No more. No more men. This is our rally call. This is our rally cry. We are fathers, and we will be respected as such. You know, I can't stress it enough. If you're a grown-ass man and you out here dating, you out here going on dates, you're a clown. You're a motherfucking clown. Okay? I understand if you and her been kicking it with each other for 2-3 months, a concert come up, and so y'all decide y'all want to go to the concert together because y'all see that this is something real and it really is growing into something. But spending your money on a female, you know, like that out here and doing that kind of stuff, and you don't even know if this gonna be the one. I mean, where I come from, that's called being a trick. Okay. Damn. I guess I'll meet a female and she'll be like, you know, let's say Mardi Gras going on or something, and she want me to meet her at some festive something or whatever. But for me, a male and female relationship is one-on-one. I'm not trying to get all out in the streets with you. You know, I don't have to spend no money to be able to impress you. If you're not impressed with the education I have, with the things I know how to do, with the things I provide, if you're not comfortable with the environment that I provide and all this kind of shit, then go find where you're comfortable with that shit at. But I'm not about to be going out here and I got food in my refrigerator, food in my cabinets, food in the pantry, you understand me, and food in the freezer, and I'm gonna go out here and take you somewhere and pay for food when I got food. Huh? That's dumb. That's dumb. You know, you can come over here, okay? You can get comfortable. You can cook the food. I'll find us a movie. You know, we can decide on the movie if you like. We can listen to music so we can see what each other like, really get to know each other, spending time with each other, get to know each other. I'm not taking you in the street and be distorted with all this other stuff, setting that standard with you. Now, the only way we can have fun is to go in the street. Why? Because I didn't start out having fun with you one-on-one. Don't be no clown, man. Don't be no clown. Look here. If you listen this long, I really appreciate you because everybody's time is precious. This has been Dr. Sausage. And my Cash App is $, capital G-I-L-L, capital M-U-S-E. And if you want to send me something, it'll be greatly appreciated because, as you see, I'm a young channel just starting out. I have not been monetized yet. But until then, I'm going to turn you over to 985 Dreezy featuring Eric Butler. The song is called Welcome to Hell. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy path. Lead me in the truth and teach me. For thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,